What you don't give to love, you give to fear. This is a concept from A Course in Miracles, a truly, truly wonderful book. And it sounds very nice, but what does this actually mean on a day-to-day practicality level, especially for creative people out there? Well, let's really examine it. What you don't give to love, you give to fear. So let's look at some examples of that, right? So number one, it could be not sharing your work due to fear of judgment, right? So if you are a painter and don't want to show off your art at a gallery because of, criticism and things like that, that limits you. Choosing trends over authenticity. So this is a way of hiding behind the norms that are being put in place. And it's like, well, if it succeeds, great. But if it doesn't, it's okay because it was just a trend and not really my fault, right? It prevents you from really finding your voice, your artistic expression, and being able to hone in on that and showcase it to the world. This is a big one for people. Number 3, perfectionism leading to creative paralysis, right? So, whether it's a musician that keeps tinkering with a song, a writer that keeps rewriting, and things of that nature. At a certain point in time, part of art is just releasing something into the world. Now, it doesn't mean be blah about it, but, you try your best, you iterate and so forth. But at a certain point, there has to, in order to be a true artist, you have to release it into the world and let it go and allow it to be no different than a child, right? You raise a kid and then they become an adult and you just have to let them be adults in a way, right? So this is something similar to that. Number 4, comprising your vision for commercial success, right? So, oftentimes it can be, intimidating in many ways to, if you're a filmmaker, take studio notes, or as a musician, people might be pushing you towards a certain direction. If you're a podcaster, kind of being a little bit more salacious and things like that. There's plenty of examples of this, but it really hinders you. You're just chasing this idea of commerciality for the sake of it but for lack of a better term, your soul is kind of withering away, right? Number 5, you avoid risks that could lead to breakthroughs. So this can happen in a multitude of ways, right? Just even starting a project oftentimes, right, is a big risk in and of itself. Asking for someone's help to participate in a project or give feedback to a project, whatever else, things that can help propel the project forward or get valuable feedback, whatever it is, being afraid, it keeps you in that sameness, right? And it keeps you playing small. Or another one, sabotaging opportunities due to self-doubt, right? So, whenever you don't feel ready to step up, this can be you applying for a position, right? You feel like this is something that you want, but you just simply don't apply for it, or you don't apply to a festival or a competition of sorts, whatever it may be, you're just afraid to put yourself out there because of that self-doubt. You're not ready. And, none of us are ultimately really ready. We just have to take that leap of faith and, let it go, right? Or the last example I'll give is withholding praise from fellow artists, right? So if you're jealous and insecure, that can start to show itself. And, part of, I think for me, at least, being an artist is also championing other people's work. And that's because, we're all in the same community, and I consume way more art than I'm able to ever create, right? And that provides inspiration and, for lack of a better term, nourishment and things of that nature. But if I'm jealous and whatnot, then I'm just bitter anytime I see a movie or read a book or listen to a song, whatever it is. And then I'm not appreciating like what's good about it and being able to, just gain that experience of what they're creating and B, learning from it and applying it in some way to my own art, right? So yeah, fear is very limiting, and said in a banal statement to some degree of what you don't give to love, you give to fear. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever. But when we really break it down through this lens, you start to see the pattern of how actually limiting that is when you give in to fear, right? And so we have to start to not do that. And what I would encourage you to do is think about all the ways that you might be giving into fear and how you can counteract that, right? And instead operate from that place of pureness, aka love. And if you feel so inclined, in fact, part of letting go of fear is expressing some of this stuff. So comment down below. I encourage you to, really express this, and you'd be surprised how it may help others as well on their journey if you share yours and, they can relate to it and stuff like that, right? So this is that aspect of putting yourself out there and so forth. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you as always. I truly do appreciate you and hope to see you next time.